Have you ever gone skydiving? Well, I have, and let me tell you, it's a lot of fun. I highly recommend it. Why am I asking? Because I want to talk about new MLB trades, that's why. AKA, this is the best intro I could think of. Okay. Really quick disclaimer. I'm going to talk about some of the most popular trades and free agency signings in the MLB in this past week. This video would turn into a giant ball of catastropheness if I was going to get to all of them. There ain't no way I'm getting to all of them. So if I don't talk about your favorite trade or free agency signing, let me know in the comments below what you want to see, and I'll try to crank one out for you. Okay, with that out of the way, man, I feel a lot better now. It's almost like I just went skydiving. The bliss, the heavenly, supreme, euphoric bliss of skydiving. In case you didn't know, there was a 99-day freeze on all trades and signings in the MLB because of this little thing called the lockout. Go check out this video right here to learn about that after you finish with the one you're watching. Finish what you start first before you move on to something else. But before the lockout happened in like late November, early December, there were a few notable trades and signings that I want to mention. Number one, before the lockout, Max Scherzer himself. The man moved from the Nationals to the Dodgers last year and made a splash on their team. This year, he's gone from the Dodgers to the Mets in a 3-year, $130 million deal. Javi Baez snuck in a deal before the lockout. The former Cub turned Met has now signed with the Detroit Tigers for a 6-year, $140 million contract. Marcus Semien went from the Blue Jays to the Rangers in a 7-year, $175 million contract. They just keep getting bigger. And Corey Seager went from the Dodgers to the Rangers in a 10-year, $325 million mega deal. It's one of the biggest contracts in sports history. That's a lot of money. Watch out, the Rangers are getting hot in 2022. That wraps it up for my list of the most notable trades and free agency signings before the lockout. Now let's get to the good part. Okay, there's a lot to cover here. I've organized all the trades and free agency signings in order from least to greatest in terms of the total amount of their contract value. Now, another quick disclaimer, there's a lot of aspects about these contracts that could change over the next few years or that make some of the details kind of up in the air. But right now, I'm just relaying at least the projected amount of time that they're going to be with the team and what they're supposed to make during that time. It's possible that some of them could switch to other teams mid-contract, but for now, we're just going to go with what's established and known. I'm going to list all of these trades and free agency signings starting from the least amount in total contract value to the greatest amount of total contract value. Corey Dickerson went from the Blue Jays to the Cardinals for a 1-year, $5 million deal. As a Cardinals fan, I'm pretty excited about this, so we'll see what happens this year with him. Luke Voit went from the Yankees to the Padres for a deal that's worth projected to be about $5.4 million. We'll see how many years it comes out to. That part's not quite clear yet. Jock Peterson went from the Dodgers to the Giants for a 1-year, $6 million deal. Matt Chapman went from the A's to the Blue Jays for a 2-year, $9.5 million deal. Nelson Cruz signed with the Nationals from the Tampa Bay Rays for a $15 million 1-year deal. Anthony Rizzo re-signed with the Yankees for a 2-year, $32 million deal. Josh Donaldson went from the Twins to the Yankees for a 2-year, $50 million deal. That's $25 million a year. Good job, Josh. Starling Marte went from the A's to the Mets for a 4-year, $78 million deal. This one's pretty fresh. Nick Castellanos signed with the Phillies from the Reds for a 5-year, $100 million deal. Carlos Correa just signed with the Twins from the Astros for a 3-year, $105.3 million deal. Craziness. Of course, the one we've all been waiting for is Freddie Freeman himself. Coming off a World Series win with the Atlanta Braves, his former team outed him, and he signed with the Dodgers. The Dodgers now have 4 MVPs on their team. The rich get richer, and his contract, 6 years and $162 million smackaronis. That's a lot of dough. So who's going to replace Freddie Freeman with the Atlanta Braves? Mr. Matt Olson himself, the first baseman from the A's, signed an 8-year, $168 million contract with the Atlanta Braves, replacing Freddie Freeman. Yeah, they got rid of one of the best players in the league, but they also got one of the best players in the other league, so we'll see what happens with those Braves. Before I tell you the number one highest grossing contract this year, I want you to comment below who else you want me to talk about. Who else? What other trades do you want me to talk about? What other free agency signings? Let me know. Do you want me to talk about ice cream or fried chicken or skydiving like I have in other videos? I'd be happy to do that because I like all those things. Also subscribe. You'll be glad you did. This is the time for the cheesy smile. That's cheesy. Coming in at number 1, the highest total value contract this year in terms of dollar amount, Kris Bryant signing with the Colorado Rockies from the San Francisco Giants for a 7-year, $182 million contract. That is a lot of money. At the time of this recording, one more person we're keeping our eye on is Trevor Story. He is a stud shortstop, but he's being eyed by the Rangers and apparently making progress with them, which kind of doesn't make sense because they signed a mega deal with former Dodgers star shortstop Corey Seager. So that's 2 star shortstops on the same team. Maybe one will be a DH. We'll see. Could be interesting. Lots of fun stuff. You know what it is. It's lesson time. The lesson this week: all of these guys that I mentioned, they've worked really hard on what they love. They get paid to do what they love. That's awesome. Yeah, they get a lot of money, but you can do exactly what they do in a way. You can do what you love and get paid to do it. So that's exactly what I want you to do. Whatever your job is, if you don't love it, switch to a job you love and get paid to do it. And I'm safe.